Welcome, adventurers. What's going on, guys? My name is Cody. This is Taking 20, and we are back with our 30-day Dungeons and Dragons challenge. Today is day 11, and the question for today is, what is your favorite adventure that you've ever ran? I got a couple of answers for you guys. Let's talk about it. So, right off the bat, I have ran published adventures. I have. I haven't ran probably the most of all time, compared to probably a lot of you guys that have been playing for decades and decades like myself. Most of the time I spent playing Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, other games. We were in custom worlds. We were in custom homebrews, and that's probably where I spent most of my time. Now, that being said, I still have played a lot of campaigns. I've played in Reign of Winter and Kingmaker, a ton of them in 3rd edition and 3.5. I'm running Storm King's Thunder. I've played starter boxes. I've played quite a few published adventures. I gotta tell you, I'm really partial to starter boxes. I think that what I like about starter boxes the most is that they're like Dungeons and Dragons at its core. Here's a box, it's got an adventure in it, let's roll up some fun characters and let's just go adventuring. And I love that kind of concept. It brings me back to my roots. If you guys watched the first video in this challenge, you'll know that I didn't have a lot of time to play campaigns when I first kind of started getting introduced to the game and kind of while I was playing throughout high school and beyond. We never really got long campaigns, so I was always really partial to all-in-one, here's an adventure, go adventure, cheers. So obviously you guys might recognize this box. This was probably my first true starter box adventure. Now, it's not my first published adventure that I bought. I bought a bunch of like Goodman games when all the D20 stuff and the OGL was out for 3rd edition. But my first like starter box where I got everything handed to me in one clean box that had maps and an adventure, and it had pre-rolled characters, so you could just sit down with your friends and run a game. And this was the first one. So this means a lot to me, I think, as far as kind of the nostalgia point of view. Now, this is not my favorite published adventure if I have to pick starter boxes. Okay, so boring Cody strikes again, right? Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We get it. You really love it. Okay, time out. This was my first adventure getting back into role-playing games, was with this box. It was the first thing that I was introduced with 5th edition. So that meant a lot to me. But I've also ran this adventure 7 times. Once as a player and a bunch of times as a dungeon master. And if you guys didn't know, I met my current Storm King's Thunder group by running this adventure right here. I went on to Roll20. I said, hey, I'm going to run a whole bunch of games for all you new people who are just lurking here on the forums and you're not ready to take the plunge. Get off your asses and come take this plunge with me. We're going to go adventure. And so I became very familiar with this adventure. I love this adventure. I love the traps in it. I love the simplicity of it. I love the goblin theme. That's a trope beat to death, right? But this adventure has it all. And of course, I love the way it ends, much like the way this one ended, much like the way this one ended. And of course, for $2, much the way, let me get that, there we go, much the way that this one ended. So I love the starter box from Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The Lost Mines of Phandelver is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful campaign. And you could probably get a solid 7 to 9 sessions out of a group with just this box. The most bang for your buck you could possibly imagine. And no spoilers, but I have sent many adventurers, let's say, tumbling down back to the entrance of a particular cave. So I love Lost Mines of Phandelver. Okay, so as far as homebrews, non-published adventures that I really, really loved, I'm tempted to say my Secrets of the Forgotten campaign that I ran, that I talked to you guys about in the last video. But I think my favorite campaign that I was a part of was the Sword Coast Chronicles that my buddy Brian actually ran. I think what I really liked about this campaign was, first off, I got to be a player, so that's always a plus for me. I love being the dungeon master. I love being the dungeon master, but I also really enjoyed the opportunity to just relax and let somebody else tell the story, and I get to react and just be a part of a game and part of a team. That was a lot of fun for me. I think what made this particular campaign so special to me and so memorable and so much fun for me was that Brian is probably the best dungeon master that I have ever had the privilege of playing with. And I really mean that because it was a privilege. Brian was very well balanced in his combats. He was a fantastic storyteller. He was very creative, and he had a lot of gaming experience that he kind of brought to the table as far as like video games and MMOs and those types of epics and stories. And we got to traverse the entirety of the Sword Coast. We fought pirates and defeated Baelor and created green feathers. This is actually where my brother came up with green feathers. We went through the Underdark and fought Drought. It was simply a wonderful campaign, and Brian put a lot of effort into it every week. It was very, very apparent. And his storytelling and ability to improvise and overall just good attitude, which I think is very, very important for a good dungeon master to have, is to have that right frame of mind. And he came every week with that right frame of mind, and it was a lot of fun, and it was by far and away my favorite homebrew campaign, even more so than the one that I ran, though admittedly I also enjoyed that quite a bit as well. So, what are some of your favorite adventures that you've ever ran? It doesn't have to just be custom. If you have a great custom campaign, share it. If you have something that was published that you really, really enjoyed, hey, share that as well so we can all see it and maybe take a look at a campaign we didn't notice before. If this is your first time here and you love role-playing games as much as I do, I'd love to have you subscribe. I'll be putting out new videos every week on DM tips, player tips, tutorials, and more, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just hit that subscribe button down below and come join us. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Cody, and may your games be filled with awesome memories and even better friends. I'll catch you guys next time.